Hey, what is going on, chat? Happy Friday. Welcome to day 5 of our SMITE Miss editions of Titan Talks, where we're going over a brand new feature in our big January update. And today, we're ending the week off with a large community request. We've been getting this question ever since we started doing Titan Talks, right, Alex?
Yes.
When is Joust? Joust is revealed today. Got Killgoon with me, and we brought in Ajax from the design team with us.
Obvious Joust expert.
Exactly, right?
Yeah. Joust and Duel.
Joust and Duel.
Joust and Duel.
Yes.
That's right.
So both modes we played on the new map, and they'll both be available in flash testing later today.
Exactly.
They will be the
exciting.
only modes available in flash testing. So if you want your conquest grind, sorry, we want feedback on this map.
Right,
Please
yeah.
play some Joust and Duel.
Yes, please check it out. The map is awesome, and we're going to show it off in a little bit. But before we get in game, just a couple of things that we wanted to update the community on. The first one is a big one. If you missed out on social media and Discord, about 10 minutes ago we posted CC buffering is now back on in SMITE 2 live servers. And the idea is that we're just going to keep it on, right?
Yeah. No, I think we're...
It is launched.
Yes.
It's kind of officially launched now. We're very pleased with it. We think that the reaction has been largely overwhelmingly positive, especially once people got to play with it. There was some skepticism at first, which makes sense, right? It's a big change, but
yeah.
I think the overwhelming response has been it's better for the game. There's probably still a few edge cases that we need to clean up, but having it live will help us find those edge cases and see what we need to do. Things that we've already done since the first test, if you haven't heard, we made Ares Ultimate now cripples. So you can't leap out of Ares Ultimate and buffer that.
Or just leap at all.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a buff
Yeah.
and a buffering change.
And you also can't... Oh, and we changed Hades' silence so that his blight form of his 2 that fears also silences now. That wasn't something that mattered before, but we've also changed it so that silence is a true interrupt. So
Yes.
you cannot CC buffer silences. So that is the true ability counter. So
most fears will probably have to have this anyway.
probably.
Right.
Just because the nature of fear. I mean, I guess we'll see if the Hades situation applies to future fears, but seems likely.
Yeah, I think for Hades in particular, it felt bad because you were going from a silence to a fear. It was like supposed to be the empowered
always
version.
a fear. It doesn't seem as bad. That makes sense. Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll definitely take things on a case by case basis. So there may be some things that we need a little bit of additional work, you know. But I think we're excited to have it turned back on. People kept asking on Titan Talk for us to turn it back on. The ambassadors were asking us to turn it back on. So
at this point, since it's on, it will be planned to be on for the Vegas tournament.
It will,
and future
yes, so we'll
esports
be on
events
for
as
Vegas.
well.
All right. And then Killgoon, I know you had an update on Xbox.
Yeah, it's a very minor one. So on Xbox in particular, there is some frame rate issues in the pre-match lobby.
Yeah.
So when you hover certain gods, like Sobek is really bad, Cacodemon Emir is really bad, they can lead to losing a lot of frames and it becoming chunky, right? We previously had pushed out a fix that was intended to address this. I mean, it ended up just kind of making things worse for everyone. It made the absolute worst less worse, but it made the average performance much worse. We've rolled that back. So now if you're on Series X, you should have pretty good performance other than around like a couple really bad underperforming skins,
Right.
which are like Sobek and Cacodemon Emir and a few other things. If you are on Series S, it will just be kind of slow frame rate overall once you've locked in a character. We are looking at this for a more permanent fix, but just to let you know, if you've seen that on Series S, we're aware of it, and Series X should be better other than the couple skins that are weird. We think it's mostly like the skins are loading the wrong LOD, like the wrong detail version in the lobby on Xbox for some reason. So we're working on it, but just giving people a heads up on that.
All right, cool.
Good announcements.
Gentlemen, chat, are you ready to reveal Joust?
I'm ready to see some Joust. Do you want to give us any preamble before we look at it? Can we drag this out any longer?
No, the people are yelling to they want to see this new map that's going to be the new map for the modes Joust and Duel. No, I think we should just show it.
All right. Well then, without further ado, introducing SMITE 2 Joust.
So lots of exciting things to see immediately. The Arthurian
I
art
need to
style.
unmute the laptop here. 1 second.
The mini map. you'll get a quick look. I'm sure a lot of people are looking at that. Another thing to quick note is that this map is still in a bit of a work in progress stage as far as the environment art goes. Most of the design stuff is locked, but there's still some art touch-ups coming up, so you may see some areas that don't look completely finished yet. But yeah, it's looking fantastic. The layout is clearly inspired by the Season 3 SMITE 1 Chinese Joust map. That was, we tried a lot of tests over the years, testing alternate Joust maps and different variations of them, reworking them. And this one always was the most popular by far.
Yes. 1 second. I'm going to bring us back to cams. I think we have a small audio issue that I'm going to fix up really quick.
And this is, as you can tell just from immediately getting loaded in, it's kind of Arthurian inspired in terms of the art style, which is pretty cool. I think I like it a lot because it gives me, I know that the original Joust map was not Arthurian inspired. It was like Roman.
Well, the
Greek, what I don't even know how.
No, the original Joust map was like kind of Arthurian.
It was kind of Arthurian. I don't know, like
it had a castle.
Yeah, it had a.
It was called Joust.
Was it? Okay, I guess
from day one in like early SMITE 1, it was kind of Arthurian
because we didn't have Arthurian. But
it was actually.
It gives me some vibes of that, but just cooler and better. So I think that like this is the first map that we've done that I think really like pulls together what's possible for SMITE 2, right? Like I think that the Conquest has a lot of areas that look really good at it, but it was the first map that we really did start to finish, and there's areas I think if we went back today we would change and improve, right?
Yeah.
I think Arena was largely let's bring it over from SMITE 1 because it's largely still good how it is. And I think you can kind of see the promise here of what we can potentially do.
Yeah, really digging into the new tools and features here.
It looks really, really great.
But that's funny. No, Joust was always Arthurian themed. Way before we even had Arthurian gods. The early SMITE developers were like, the Arthurian totally makes sense in the SMITE universe. Little known fact. There you go.
You may notice there's a little bit of a dragon up there.
Right.
He does a little bit of like an intro animation and then just kind of idles for ambiance and for character.
Someone said make him playable.
Make him playable.
Yeah, make the dragon playable.
Yeah,
there's something new over here.
Right? The teleporter's new mechanic here that lets you teleport from the jungle boss section to the red buff section.
Yeah, so quick rotations now.
You can do some cool
and who's this?
The new jungle boss for the Joust map is going to be the Lost Knight.
Yeah, all new model, new animations, all that. We had to theme him to the Arthurian map as well.
There is, so you see a very distinct difference between the Order and Chaos sides. Also here in the middle, we have kind of a Merlin tower feel. You can see there is a statue and a tower and some very magical elements dedicated to Merlin. If you want to kill the Lost Knight while we're here, we can show off some things it does.
And just in general, like the map is kind of themed as Mordred versus
Arthur, yeah.
So one side is arted to look like things associated with Mordred, and the other side is more arted to look like things associated with Arthur. And we'll go through it more here in a second once we see what the Lost Knight does.
So when you slay him, it's going to be similar rules as you saw in the old Joust, which is you'll get a jungle boss buff, and also watch the orb and the laser. That goes to tells you which tower is stunned.
That's sick.
Yeah, I've always wanted some stronger feedback for that and some justification in the universe. We used to have these like orbs fly from the dead Bull Demon King, but this actually channels like a beam on it from that astrolabe thing through the crystal and stunning the tower. It looks super cool. And you also get this cool like green deathly version of the fire giant buff.
Yeah, and this buff grants you 20% penetration while restoring 0.8 of your max health and mana every second.
Regen and penetration. Penetration is a unique choice for that buff. So let's go over some of the I got pulled up the notes here. Some of the basic stats for Joust. You're going to start at level 3. You're going to start at 1250 gold. Pretty much what you'd expect. The spooling is going to be a little higher than Conquest. Let's see. There's some notes on the patch notes we'll share about respawn timers and things like that. Lane minions. We're going to share a lot of the details here. One good thing to note. I'm not going to go over all the little variables numbers right now. One interesting to note is the jungle buffs are stackable,
right? Yeah.
Like Conquest, so you can have all 3 buffs on one player. And they do have infamy, so invading them will give you the chance to power up your buffs, and killing them more will cause the red buff and things to increase in their value over the game, whereas if you don't ever secure any red buffs, it'll stay level 1 for longer. Let's see, the Lost Knight. the Lost Knight spawns as early as 3 minutes, and has a little bit shorter, only a 3-minute respawn timer when it's killed. So a little bit of a faster loop. It is a little bit squishier than maybe what you're used to in some jungle bosses in previous iterations of Joust. So you need to pay attention to it a lot earlier. When you get the Lost Knight, it will stun the frontmost tower or potentially Phoenix. Disables healing powers. It produces the protections too.
We've got this big patch of stealth grass here.
Yes, there is.
And you can still kind of see through to see what's going on back there from here.
But if you get too close, you get revealed again too.
Yes.
I like that little patch. We had some fun fights there in playtest recently.
Yeah, I think Matt from the level design team called out that it's always fun to like kind of hide out here and then just like jump over the wall to engage. And now you've got the stealth grass to facilitate that play even more. Got
A lot of if you could
Yeah.
make it into the chaos space without getting killed, you can see a little bit more of the
Yeah. Oh, you're invulnerable. Yeah, you can run.
walk right in like you own the place.
Yeah, and there's a lot of theming around like roses and the things associated with Mordred here.
Got some fire here.
Mordred's castle looks
Actually,
like
you know
it's
what?
just been
I'm
sieged.
going to set my team.
Does that work?
No, I think I've got to actually walk out. before the
You
fight.
are an ally now, but he
Yes.
doesn't know yet.
He doesn't
There
know
you go.
yet.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
now
he
he
does.
knows.
Okay.
So now I can walk through here without getting slammed, and we can get a little bit of a better look here at the chaos base. But we've got the fire here.
Yeah,
We've
and
got-
the idea is that Mordred is like sieging the castle kind of
Yes.
thing, right? He's like broken in.
With his cursed magic and his battering ram and his dragon, apparently.
Oh, this battering ram is sick.
A few things that we could add to his kit later, maybe. Joking. I'm joking. Not planning on giving Mordred a dragon or a battering ram, although it's sweet.
Can Aladdin climb on the fire? I would assume so.
If it's a wall,
if it's a
he's
wall,
not going
right,
to climb
yeah.
the
He can
fire.
walk on water and on fire. Yeah. It's just-
You see how he summons that little spectral wall in
Yeah.
front of him? So if he hits a seemingly invisible wall, yeah, he can still make his own.
The chaos base looks great here.
yeah.
So Joust, is a really great place to play if you like pure combat, right? You don't want to really spend time with rotations or farming. Like Joust, I always was a big fan of Joust. I know this goes way back to the memes. I feel like people don't even remember these memes. Were like, for a certain part of Smite's lifetime, I was being attacked for being too much of a
Yes,
Joust
I
player
remember.
and not enough of a
The
Conquest
Joust
player.
main AJ.
Even though I
remember,
started
yeah.
playing Smite in closed beta, and I always loved Conquest as well. But Joust is really all about, just picking that perfect team comp and just executing those like ability combos really cleanly. You have to be smart and make sure you still clear jungle bosses and objectives. Oh, there's a Lady of the Lake. I saw someone ask earlier if any of the there's all sorts of specific mythological details and references in here.
Yeah, there's a statue of Merlin behind the Lost Knight, I know.
Yes.
So, pick your team comps carefully for high synergy to play with each other is really like the most important thing in Joust. That's what makes it so exciting to me, because you just get to try these really strong synergistic team comps repeatedly and see who can outplay the other.
Yeah, the idea is that that's like Merlin's tower in the background.
Right. Merlin has this nice
Yeah, and it makes
central
sense that
section.
Whatever the magic is that disables the towers comes straight from Merlin's tower, which is great.
Someone asked about a victory or defeat animation. We do have a little bit of a victory defeat animation. I don't know if we showed that in the Conquest day of the
we did
show,
not.
but it's on all maps now. When you kill the Titan, there's a little bit of a camera pan. Nothing too fancy, but it is a significant improvement over what we had before, and it feels a lot better. Nice smooth transition out of there.
Yeah, I think just like the way this really came together with just, the banners and the foliage and the details on the stonework and the ground, where it doesn't just look like the same pattern repeating. It looks like more organic. I don't know. I just think it turned out really well. The
You
team.
got King Arthur here.
Just asserting dominance over the lane.
And I believe we've got some new minion art as well. If I'm remembering.
Are there outfits changed?
Yes.
Let's see. I don't know if I had that in my notes. Aladdin has been played on this map a lot, and his wall run has been working just fine on this map. Oh yeah, it does have say that the chaos are kind of undead invaders, and the order are like more like traditional knights. So the minion models were updated for this map compared to Conquest. They're kind of zombified.
Yeah, a little bit
here. Yeah. So let's see some other things on the notes. The Chinese Joust layout, stealth grass teleporters, purple buff stacking. We can talk about some of the Duel specific features. We will be bringing over a lot of the same stuff here. So the Duel will be still have picks and bans.
Yes. I believe it is 2 bans per person right now.
Right. It is not classified as a ranked mode technically right now, but it does have picks and bans. It has traditional behind the scenes MMR. So as you keep winning, you'll be playing better and better players. And it has picks and bans. It'll have the game mode modifiers that we're used to from SMITE 1, which is that it'll have no gold award for First Blood, 75% health Titans, and a nerfed Lost Knight, and some adjusted respawn timers.
Yes.
And there will not be the dual orbs. Those are community and ambassador chat and things like that determine we should not port those.
Correct. Yeah. So no dual orb in Duel.
And that's not just like a time constraint thing. We just specifically decided that design was not something we wanted to keep going with, and we would potentially design something new for Duel specifically in the future, but the dual orbs are not coming over as part of this change. So there will be only one Duel queue, not any like normal versus ranked. So just queue Duel and you can play Duel. And the Duel, I know the Duel YouTubers are gonna hit that fast.
Oh, they're gonna be hitting the queues instantly.
Can we get outside the map? Hopefully not. If you do, please let us know, and we will fix it.
Yeah, I mean, you could cheat. I like the vista from up here. We're really up on this cool cliff, which is nice. Like Conquest has nice vistas too, but the map is so much bigger and you're spending a lot of time not on the very edges, so you don't get to see much of it. Whereas this Joust, you're like, that's right there by the tower pad, so you actually get to enjoy it a lot. We went a little lighter with the stealth grass on this map. It's only in that one section. Something we could, relatively easily add back if we wanted to. There's some potential thematic issues, like we don't really love the idea of adding grass on like stone brick floor, but you can see there's already grassy incursions on the side, so we could justify putting a stealth patch somewhere over there. Look at those fields, the feudal fields
on the order side. Yeah, I'm really enjoying the vistas from both sides. It looks great.
Joust currently has the full same item list. I don't believe we banned any items. I know that is something we have done before in the past in SMITE 1. We want to see what happens. We didn't want to send people into these modes with anything restricted. So full Conquest item builds are all available to Joust and Duel at this time.
Yeah, and we touched on it on Titan Talk yesterday, but no non-Conquest balance in SMITE 2 at this point.
Correct.
So no need to worry about that. You'll be playing with the same balance changes as everyone else in all game modes.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions about ranked Duel versus ranked Joust. Right now, there's just going to be Duel and Joust. There is MMR tied to these modes, so you will play better players. It just won't have the I'm currently Diamond Duel player or a Diamond Joust player.
Yeah, I guess right now, just the way the game is set up for the UI and the leaderboards and stuff like that, we just have Conquest ranked, and adding more to it multiplies. You have to have a whole bunch of different screens that have different modes and different toggles and things like that. So ranked Duel was not really something that was an immediate plan, but maybe like a leaderboard, but not necessarily classifying it as a ranked mode. It's really like what part of the ranked mode really matters. I'd assume the leaderboard is what matters. Like, and that implies some sort of progress, which is pretty much all of the things that are missing anyway. So then it's like, I guess it's officially called ranked then if you put those things in.
Yeah,
because it already has the picks and bans.
I wonder if we could also.
So those like the only differences.
We might be able to ask the Tracker GG guys if they could get a Duel leaderboard up in the short term as well.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah,
Something
I'll make
like
a note of that.
We do not. I will say we do not have plans to make ranked Joust a different mode ever right now. It was an extremely small population. I was a ranked Joust player. I know there was a lot of people, even Hi-Rez and ambassadors and ex-pros and stuff like that all played ranked Joust, but we just want to have one Joust queue so everyone's in the same place.
Right, yeah.
But we would, like Alex said, we can look into something like a leaderboard on Tracker that can be hosted outside the game. And like, I'm getting way ahead of myself here, but in the spirit of Titan Talk, I really like the idea of some sort of like singular queue, but has some sort of promotion phase. Like if you play enough Joust or enough Duel, you hit a certain hidden MMR or a hidden number of games, then you have the opportunity to like opt into a ranking system.
Right.
And it's always one queue, it's always one button, it's a one pool of players. And you could be playing against an opponent that doesn't care their rank. Yeah, maybe they're good enough to play against Sam and Rexy, but they don't care to be a ranked player, but they can still play.
Yes.
Right? And then they don't have to worry about their name on the leaderboard or what their win rate is, but just play the game.
Right.
So I still really like the idea of doing that type of thing for Joust and Duel, but that's probably like a long way off. The tracker style leaderboard in them instead is probably the most realistic, immediate thing we would do. So I know like other games are starting to experiment with this sort of like merged system where it's all one queue, but at a certain point the rules change. Smash Bros, I feel like that was one of the ones that did this first with Elite Smash. You would be playing PvP MMR rated Smash, but if you played enough of one character and had got good enough win rate, you could then opt into Elite Smash on that character and play against tougher opponents and other elite players, and had a more detailed ranking system and things like that. So like I think that's a really cool way to explore. Why not use this map for Assault instead of Conquest? That's a good question. We absolutely considered that, and the answer is that it's just much smaller.
Yes.
Yeah.
It maybe doesn't feel that way, but if you've ever played the Joust 5v5 match of the day, you like immediately feel that it's like it is. I want to use some not PG-13 related terms to describe that. It's crazy. So we wanted to use the Conquest map because it actually has the full proper number of towers like Assault does. This would only have one tower, and then Phoenix, and then over. And also just like the lanes being shorter. I guess their width is not that different, but yeah, just the smaller map felt really congested with that many players. So although this map is beautiful and we'd love to spend more time on it, it didn't quite fit the gameplay of Assault.
Yeah, and then people asking about it. Assault, we will be showing Assault on Monday. Assault, we have said before, is going to be played on a cut-down version of the Conquest map. So we'll be playing kind of in the mid lane of the Conquest map with some changes. And then we're still kind of deciding what we do after this because we've been working real hard to pull this together. And I think the question for us is largely...
It's been a long week.
It has. Do we work on Conquest updates from here, or do we work on a dedicated Assault map? I think those are the two most likely outcomes.
I'd say Conquest updates seem like they'll be a priority no matter what. The question will be, what is the balance between that and other new maps or modes or things like that? Like, overwhelmingly, we will, at this time, have the most popular modes of Smite 1 in Smite 2. Any combination of Siege, Clash, / Match of the Day was a relatively small % comparison compared to the rest of these modes. So I'd expect we continually, and there's a lot of people asking about Assault, Conquest. They're seeing how good this map looks, and they're asking about Conquest updates and things like that. And I'll say Conquest is constantly being updated to continue to improve the graphical quality there. And then in the future, it'll probably get gameplay updates as well as artistic, thematic updates that go along with that gameplay. And we'll just be going from there.
Someone asked, is Smite 2 officially out, or is it beta? Technically, right now, it's in alpha. You may see it says beta on the screen here. We're currently planning that in January, we will move into a beta phase. But right now, what you can play right now in live is alpha. We're hoping to go to beta soon. We think we have a lot of good features here, and we've kind of reached that milestone. But yeah, still not fully launched, but we're definitely still working on making it better. And I think it is getting substantially better every month, right?
Yes, absolutely.
The word launch nowadays means means so many different things. Even packaged box games have day one patches and significant updates after launch and things like that, so we have a phased launch here.
Sweet. Well, gentlemen, anything else on the Joust map that we want to show off while we're in game here?
Let's see. I mean, I think we covered everything on the notes. Is there any other questions about the map?
Yeah, questions about the map. Let's
About the
answer
map
questions
specifically?
in particular.
There's a lot of people. I mean, I've seen this question multiple times about like updating all of the monsters, the titans, the phoenixes. It's like that is theoretically possible. It's just like it's not super valuable to the game mode. It's like if we were gonna make a new character, I would want a monster that we could use as a new objective with new mechanics in Conquest and then other game modes and stuff like that, as opposed to just cosmetically reskinning a phoenix, which stands there and does the same thing no matter what. So like that's generally my stance on the characters. Like if we make a new character, I want to use it for a new unique gameplay situation, not do reskins, because reskinning NPC characters generally involves making a whole new character.
A lot of questions about the dragon. The dragon is purely artistic. He just kind of adds a little bit of ambiance up there. He does not impact the gameplay in any way.
No, he is just for flavor.
He's just watching
I
what's
believe
going on in the lane, you know?
He is sourced from some inspiration from a SMITE skin dragon. I can't remember which. Aokwang. I don't think it's Fafnir. I don't think so. He's got a lot of new modeling and updates completely, but he's not like completely made for this.
When is this going to be playable? It's going to be playable in Flash Test this afternoon.
Yep.
So check the SMITE Discord, and or follow us on Twitter and see how to do that. You need to download the SMITE 2 PTS app
on Steam
to be able to play, and you'll be able to play them. And then it will be released onto the live servers in early January. It's the most detail I can give you right now.
Sounds good. And this is an interesting question. Draft pick. Could Joust have draft with no bans? And then seeing how the community responses, could we put Conquest draft with no bans? And we've talked about this a lot over the years, so that's why I like to bring it up again. The main concern with that is we don't like the idea of people being limited on the gods they can pick, right? The main advantage of blind pick is that you can have mirror matches, therefore you have a lot more gods available to use pick. If it's always draft pick, you're going to have a lot more dodgers looking for new gods. You're going to have a lot of constrained comps. It's just like, I don't think draft pick in casual Conquest, it seems incredibly unlikely to me. I don't think it was something the community really supported in SMITE 1, even at 130 gods. So it seems really unlikely we'd want that in SMITE 2. So same thing with Joust. I mean, Joust, you have only 3 players, so that doesn't feel as constrained. And the only way I think we'd want picks and bans in Joust was if we did something like I said about kind of, the elite Joust at higher tier.
Right.
Then you could opt into bans or something like that. But it also just slows down the whole process of getting into game. When people want to play casuals, they generally just want to get in and get going. So yeah, that question comes up a lot and I haven't talked about it in a while, so I thought it was a good one. Yes, thank you for the question. Is Achilles the Bull Demon King? Yes, that model is sourced from the Achilles skin.
Your Titan is under attack.
And it looks awesome. It fits thematically. But there's always a chance. Like I said, if we made a completely new monster that we wanted to use for some mechanical reason on multiple maps, it could end up slotting there too, as long as it makes sense thematically. Blanket damage nerf to minions for Joust or Duel. Not really sure about that. No, we never really thought about doing it like that. We can tune the minions' tankiness individually via balance. Like, if tankier minions would somehow improve Joust, that is something we could easily do. Maybe that is a double tank meta question hidden in the subtext there, reading between the lines. I anticipate that the double tank meta will still be good in this Joust in SMITE 2, as it was in SMITE 1. But if you do double DPS, that can certainly work too. You just have to play to your strengths. Someone just says, what about Duel? We did talk about Duel a lot. This is going to have Duel on it as well.
And we also said Lost Knight stats are still scaled differently in Duel versus Joust.
He just has a flat HP nerf applied to him. So he scales the same. I guess it's a flavor brute question, so it might as well be specific, right?
Right, yeah.
His stats, I think, scale over time the same, but he has a flat nerf applied to him, as does the Titan and Towers and Phoenixes. I got to check my notes again. What is the reasoning for adding teleporters to every mode? Good question. In this case, we just thought this was fun. Like, a lot of times you would have these really long rotations between getting the jungle boss, whatever it was in any of the Joust modes, and going all the way across for the red buff camp. So it just smooths out that rotation that you can actually clear and then clear. And it also creates a new avenue for like contesting or escaping from the fight. Because all of the previous Joust maps, especially the Chinese Joust map, the season 3 one, you get really trapped in there, which can create some fun fights, but often can create like really favor the invaders trying to just come in, pick the last bit of the Bull Demon King. So now that you have this more space to fight, we thought it was just a really fun improvement. And we've seen some really hype plays from it too.
There have been several questions about day-night cycles, weather effects, things like that in the future. I think we have thought about ways that we can continue to evolve Conquest and other modes gameplay in the future with things like that. Don't have anything to share at this time, but definitely conversations we've had internally. And some things are theoretically possible, some things are less possible.
I mean, I guess I'm showing my bias as a designer here, but like, I like those types of things to come with gameplay with them, like mechanical intent. Like, so I wouldn't say we intend to ever have like a day, night, or weather cycle that's purely cosmetic, but we have definitely had pitches and discussions about things like weather style events that affect the map, and some different objective spawning, things like that. Those types of things could certainly happen.
There are questions on if there's a cooldown on using the teleporter.
Yes, but it's short.
Okay.
I think Isiah demonstrated it. If you want to hit it again, it looked like it was only about 5 to 7 seconds. Oh yeah, can you reach them if you walk all the way behind the teleporter?
Ooh, let's see.
Yeah. So you can reset them and then do it. So we'll go through the teleporter. Yeah, 5 seconds. That's what that exclamation point is if you want to hover it, or it won't let you interact. No, you can't. Yeah, so it's 5 seconds. So it's short. So you can go back and forth a lot if you want. Good question. Well, let's see more questions. Lots of okay, low. Yeah, okay. It might be too low. We'll see.
Yep. Let us know how
it doesn't have
today.
It doesn't have the same rotational implications that a conquest map does at all. It's like although it's a similar mechanic, it's like a very different actual context, right?
Yeah. Some people were saying it might be 5 seconds because we have the reduced cooldown.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Usually those things aren't affected by that. I wouldn't expect it to be affected by cooldown reduction, but it's possible. That is true.
Yeah,
we could be cheating.
I have cheats on.
Dev cheats have fooled me in the past.
Yeah. So try it out on a flash test and let us know.
Yeah. Titans design more model. A lot of questions about people just wanting more models. So thank you. We'll definitely take note of that. Ranked Joust is not currently planned. What's the reasoning of having the Lost Knight as the jungle boss over the dragon? Because the dragon is just not rigged and animated for combat. Like, it would require a whole new set. It's a cosmetic dragon. So, it's far away. It's in the distance. Making a playable character versus a prop character is a very different technical process and artistic process in general. Dragons are also just challenging character shapes for Smite. Like, where's the hitbox? It's going to be really big potentially. It's like, there's a lot of reasons why the knight just works a lot better than the dragon for us.
So the Joust has a hidden MMR. Every mode has a hidden MMR, even in casuals.
Skill-based matchmaking exists in Smite in all modes.
Yes.
Whether or not it's ranked or not.
Yes.
But only Duel will have picks and bans. Joust will just be normal pick.
Can I solo queue against a trio in Joust? I'm not sure. We'd have to ask Max. I'm not sure what the rules are on that.
I don't know the exact rules, and generally we will try to prevent that, but if there is no other suitable match, that can probably happen.
Yeah.
If you've been waiting a while, or if it's a weird time of day, like, those types of things can usually happen in exception cases.
why not make ranked the default queue for every mode and get rid of casual queue? Because ranked is hugely unpopular.
Well, it's kind of the same thing I said earlier. People want to have more freedom in their god picks.
Yeah.
They want to get into the game faster. They don't want to be bombarded with literal performance information about how you did at the end.
Yeah,
So-
most people just want to play the game and have a good time and play something that's competitive, but not something that's like ultra sweaty competitive, right? Ranked exists for people that want to try to compete at the highest levels, but it's always going to be a smaller percentage of your overall player base.
This question's been asked before, so I'll ask it again about performance optimization. And I said this last time I was on Titan Talk, maybe the time before that. Performance is definitely a constant priority. It is something we're working on actively. I walked past engineers that are working on performance every day. We're really aiming to continually improve that so that people can play Smite on any machine. And so Smite 2 can play well, even if your internet is struggling. That is definitely something we are continually working on. And I would say there are some big improvements for the January update. And if not, there are certainly more coming shortly after, because I see a lot of that work in progress in my day-to-day work at the studio. So it is in progress. It will be a constant effort.
There's a question. Would you branch away from the fantasy colors? The theme in Alpha 2 was much more fitting for a graphical upgrade. The feedback we got from players was overwhelming that approach did not feel like Smite and that it felt more generic UE5. So we very intentionally moved away from that look to get us more towards a slightly more stylized, more fantasy, more traditional Smitey, but better graphical style that we've landed on for what we've done recently.
I think this Joust map shows a good example of being able to be fantastical and stylish without being like overly pushed into that direction. So, it's something we've been exploring as a team, but I think this Joust map shows a good balance of it. This one, the colors are not like overly saturated to like make up for anything else, right? It's just the assets are working as intended and it works well and it has some very nice themes and styles to it. Conquest, we just started on like a very rough canvas that we were working on, focused on gameplay for many months, and then continuing to update there. So Conquest is making a lot of improvements too, and it'll get there soon.
Somebody who was saying the sky looks like a generic sky from UE5. Do you plan on changing it? It is not a generic sky from UE5. One of our artists created it.
There is, though, when you make a UE5 like sample project, there is like a default, like it's a blue sky with clouds type of skybox. But like blue sky with clouds is gonna look like blue sky with clouds. I guess it could have been more like painterly, more stylized blue sky with clouds. That might make it feel. But it's like if you make a realistic blue sky with clouds skybox, it is going to feel similar to other realistic blue sky with skyboxes. But that's a good point, because we used to do some crazy skyboxes.
Oh yeah,
like super stylized, impossible supernovas and planets crashing into each other and stuff like that. Even though it's like, there's no reason for it. It just looked cool. So that's certainly something we can think about doing.
Yeah, and just to be clear on the duel versus ranked duel thing, there's still picks and bans in duel. It's still got an MMR. We will see about getting a leaderboard surface. The only thing that's not tied to it is having a publicly visible, like, I am a diamond duel player or whatnot.
Right. Vegas event rewards. I don't know the answer to that one.
Can we get the same Joust map mechanically, but with different art treatments that rotate randomly from match to match? It takes a very long time to do the art for a map. That's the hardest part of making a new map, is getting all the art done. So it would be months and months and months between each map that we were able to deliver in a different art style. So currently no plans on making multiple different maps to rotate through.
Right. The difference between Order and Chaos are a little bit more than just the foliage. The castle walls, textures changed. There's a lot of different props, like we said, the combat and destruction that's done over there. Certainly not a mirrored map. They're both pretty distinctly different sides. The castle is totally different in its overall geometry. There's a lot of differences between this Order and Chaos side, actually. I know sometimes we don't do that intentionally. But this time we really did intentionally make the two Order and Chaos sides very different from each other. Is that an Aladdin wall run question? I don't know the answer to that. Sorry. This is a weird question. If monsters and stuff being thematically accurate to the map is not important, why did you remodel the minions? I don't think I ever said that. I do think it can be important. But we are in a beta phase and trying to get a bunch of modes out relatively quickly, so we chose specifically not to remodel every single asset on
Yeah, I think the things that felt the most like they didn't fit with this map were the things that we prioritized, right?
Right. Yeah. We did try making a map that was a mashup of pantheons, honestly. We experimented with that in Conquest. It really just felt visually too cluttered. Like, I specifically remember working on a pitch that was like, okay, this map is not Greek themed. The whole theme of this map is like unity among the pantheons. And we're going to have like a Hindu quadrant and a Chinese quadrant and a Greco-Roman quadrant. And it's just like, it's very unpractical from a development standpoint, which none of y'all really care about. Don't worry about that. But it also just visually felt strange and didn't look super great. Just working on so many drastically different things and trying to get them all into the same space it's strange. You don't see a lot of video game levels usually stick to a very strong theme at a time, one at a time, you know, like there's, I'm sure some examples, maybe, you know, Psychonauts or something like that, where stuff is like really crazy, trippy, and like multiple things clashing together. But then that's the theme of the level. Yeah. In the multiple pantheon theme was just really kind of strange for us. So seeing that people are mostly just talking about the classification of Duel being ranked or not is like pretty much all that's going on in chat right now. So there was a bit of a technical limitation on having another ranked mode right now with the way our UI and in-game leaderboards are set up and all of that. And Duel is a relatively small player base, so it's not going to have all those features right away. Just something we'll have to work towards in the future.
Cool. Well, I think that that wraps up our in-game Joust preview. So that'll be available in Flash Tests, Joust, and Duel later on this afternoon. I will bring us back to cams here, but I think I may be able to show off as I bring us back to cams. If I surrender, we might get a little bit of an animation.
Yeah,
here.
See, there's a camera pan and a zoom and a Titan death, and then it fades to defeat.
There we go.
Yeah.
I lost my first Joust game, chat. It's all good. All right. Well,
0% win rate.
I know, right? Well, we have got about 15-ish minutes or so left, so you want to start taking some more questions, maybe outside of Joust Duel. Anything else chat wants to talk about?
I'm scanning for him.
Yeah, I saw one question that was like, why not release King Arthur at the same time? King Arthur is a very complicated god, arguably one of the most complicated gods to create in SMITE 2. He's actually been on the roadmap, but delayed several times so that we could do other things instead. And we felt like trying to get to more gods in the game was more important than getting King Arthur out right now. So that's why he is not in this this update. He will probably be coming sometime in the next year, though. He is a very popular god. Just when we were trying to prioritize getting more gods in, it was more important.
Yeah. We have made a lot of other god progress in the process. We could have done one King Arthur. We've done like 5 other gods, which, you know, I'm very excited for King Arthur to make it here. He has had some progress made on him. So, you know, I guess we're fine with confirming that.
Will Founders Editions go away on the 1.15 update? No, they will still be available after the 1.15 update, but you will no longer get the Cacodemon Emir for purchasing during the alpha phase.
Yeah. Sure, I think a 2 Pantheon map is certainly possible. Yes. Getting quite a bit of chat spam on that. Like if we have our order side be one Pantheon, chaos side be the other Pantheon, like that's certainly possible. Just not something that we've have found the right situation for yet. We had some Slash.
Yeah, we had
Maya
some
versus
Maya
Egyptian.
and Egyptian.
Yeah, so it's like we've done it before. We can do it again. plans to rebalance intelligence cooldown items. Well, the cooldown was really OP, right, for a while, so we just nerfed that a little bit. I don't feel like we've been seeing that they've been too nerfed. Maybe a few of them. We'll be bringing back those items a little bit over time, the weaker ones. We'll always look for the outliers first, the weakest ones, to bring those back up as opposed to doing a whole stat-wide change. So after that 2 big, like, all cooldown items adjustments, I think we're going to be looking at some more specific changes first. But we already talked about the items in SMITE 1. For OB1, we mostly were looking at strength items. So we'll loop back and make sure to double check intelligence items. Thanks for the note.
I've seen quite a few people asking why we haven't done a Roman god in SMITE in a long, long time.
That's a good one.
I don't think there's any particular animosity towards the Roman pantheon. It's not like something we've been intentionally avoiding, just not seeing the right character that made sense within the roadmap that we were trying to construct for the year, right? Because basically within a year, we try to have at least one of each role plus something else, right? And then we're trying to balance between what the most interesting things are for each role that can lead to a diversity of different gameplay styles, different visual appearances, different like name recognition things. And so I think there are definitely some good Roman candidates on the list, but they just haven't quite risen to the tippity top of making the list over the last.
Well, and
few
Roman
years.
gods do, like, every pantheon of gods has to face those challenges, but Roman gods do have one additional challenge, which is that if the Greek version of you is just way cooler and way better known, then
Yes.
we're gonna make that instead, probably. Like,
What has better name recognition? If it's the Greek version, we're probably going to make the Greek version.
yeah. So, like, Romans do have a slight additional challenge against them, but we certainly have seen some top Roman community suggestions. We're always considering things like that. So we'll probably see a Roman god in the next year or two, I think. It's been a long time. And there's been a couple really interesting ones that do actually make sense to do as Roman, not Greek, I think. I'll have to go back and double check. But,
Yeah, like obviously Bellona is like the most obviously like really only kind of exists in Roman mythology, right? Like not even really a figure in Greek mythology.
Right.
So
there's not many of those. Yeah.
Are support starters allowed in Joust? I think all items are allowed in Joust right now, right?
They are.
Yes.
I've seen multiple questions about clans, which just kind of feels like out of nowhere for me, but like we do not have clans as like a immediate priority. We have a long list of things that we have that we want to build for SMITE 2. Clans is going to be towards the farther end away on that list.
Yeah. And I think also when we've answered that before, we've said like clans are a feature that were really important in the early days of SMITE because there weren't easy to access communities in other places. Whereas nowadays, most people gather on Discord and there's kind of like Discord communities around different groups that people get together in. So the need for also having in-game SMITE clans is slightly less important. It seems like
the only real functional effect of clans for many years of SMITE was a cosmetic tag next to your name. Yeah. Which now, you could do that in your Steam name. You could just put your clan tag in your name if you wanted to. But yeah, the external community tools, the MOBA as a game don't really use the clan system at all. Like player sandbox MMOs where clans are an important part of the whole gameplay. Obviously makes sense to have those. But have you guys talked about text chat this week?
Very little.
I'm surprised that we're not getting hit with that question instead. So I thought you maybe have already talked about it.
We have said, but we generally talk about it every day. So if you want to talk about it today, you can.
Well, I was just like not trying to put you all on the spot, but I was just like, what has been said about that?
We said that on PC we will have text chat on in pre-match lobby and in game. That will have text chat filtering. We are taking a look at the text chat filtering, and it may be too aggressive in some cases. It may not be aggressive enough in some cases. So it's kind of like the beta rollout of text chat. And then we will be adding post-match all chat in a future update and adding it to consoles in a future update. And that we basically we need to go through full certification with the consoles to enable text chat. And the timing of it seemed a little bit risky right now to try and get that done and still be able to release our update in early January.
Okay, so you pretty much told them text chat is going to be here.
Yeah, post-match is always all chat. In-game will continue to be just team chat.
Okay. I guess I should have assumed that because we weren't getting many questions about it. So I figured we must have talked about it because we were getting a lot of questions about that before. Oh, I saw a good question I wanted to answer. Now I forgot what it was.
Are we getting more aspects? We
That's
will
a
get
good
more
question.
Aspects. It probably. I'm not going to say that every single update will have more aspects, but the idea is that we will steadily add aspects over time until each god has at least one aspect, and then theoretically in the future we could go back and add a second aspect if people are enjoying it.
Yeah, so I don't want to commit to anything right now, but I am working on some of the design planning for next year, working with the production team, just seeing where our resources are and how many gods we're making. And the other question was about starter items. So it's a similar thing. We've been really pushing super hard on gods right now. We felt like that was the most important thing in the game. And the whole time we've been working on this, we've been having our ambassadors, hey, what about this item? Hey, what about that item? And we're like, yes, you're right, but I'm working on 4 gods at once right now. I cannot make you that item. So we got a few items in anyway. But next year we're going to keep working on gods, but we're not going to have we had so many gods due all at once that we're going to have a little bit of designer bandwidth open up. So I'm planning to have dedicated design time for the designers to work on aspects and items. I can't say exactly how many that's going to result in. Like more complicated items might take longer, or different designers might be better suited to work on different items. So or different aspects. But I do want us to have a consistent output of new items and new aspects, or reworked items or reworked aspects, or polished up items or polished up aspects throughout next year, like starting early. Yeah. So that is a key goal for us. I think we'll be able to output a consistent amount of those. Maybe not like a huge drop of them. Someone asking about starter items, one of the challenges with that is like, do you do one at a time, or like is it a problem if if support has 3 options for a few weeks and the others don't? I don't really think that should hold us back. Like I think we should start working on them anyway. But yeah, the really heavy god push kind of was vying for that time. But next year, constant new aspects and items will be a key focus. So keep up those aspect suggestions. Those are really fun.
Oh, yeah.
I see people having a lot of fun with those. There's some crazy ones in there that are very impossible, but that's okay. We'll figure it out from there.
Those ideas, though, right?
And then I would also love to hear what type of items people think are missing, what type of their favorite Smite 1 items that are still not in Smite 2. That'd be really good feedback to get. Or like if there's a specific play style or genre of god that you feel is just missing an item for them. Yeah. Like, we need more mage ADC items was one that we ran into a few months ago. So like anything like that, you don't have to pick a specific item. You can just tell me, AJ, we need more healer tank items, whatever. Let us know, and we can we'll take all that feedback into account as we start designing some new items and more Smite 1 ported items next year.
Will we get a Titan talk talking about post-January plans? At the Vegas esports tournament, we're going to be doing a roadmap show on Sunday.
Of course.
Where we're going to be talking about a little bit about the gods that are coming next. We're going to be talking about some other new systems and some other little spoilers. It's kind of going to be a glorified Titan talk, but without me. I will not be in Vegas because I am expecting to have a newborn at that point in time. But Isiah and I think it's Isiah, Travis, Pawn, and India are going to be on the show. So a good group of friendly faces. I don't know if we've had India on the show before, but she's a systems designer here who does great work, and is going to talk about some stuff that's coming up. So
very exciting. So yeah, watch out for that roadmap show. And then of course,
and when is Vegas? I believe it is January 17th to 19th.
Yes.
So the show will be on the 19th, on the morning of the 19th.
And then even after that show, it'll continually be a conversation with our players.
Yeah, I saw somebody in chat asking if we're going to continue doing Titan Talks after the January update, and yes, we're going to continue to do Titan Talks as long as you all want to watch and hang out.
It seems to be a really effective system for transparency and for gathering feedback, right? It's like it's working really well for both sides of the development process. So why not keep it up?
Will Dolson be in Vegas? I believe Dolson will be in Vegas.
Dolson will be in Vegas.
And what's my favorite game to play at the casino? I'm not promoting gambling because gambling is a bad thing and you should not do it. But I personally like either video poker or craps. Those are my 2 games.
I'm totally not a gambler either.
Yeah.
So
you got to call up Hindu Man. He's the gambler,
A lot of people asking about Slash, or at least one guy continually asking about Slash. We don't have any plans for a Slash Clash siege type map right now. I think the next priority for new maps is going to be either a dedicated assault map or a bigger conquest update.
Yeah.
I think it's most likely it's probably going to be a bigger conquest update, but we'll see. I think there is a chance that we do. One of the things that we floated internally, which I've mentioned on the show before, is like the idea of kind of like a faster playing version of Conquest.
Yes, Turbo Conquest.
That want to be able to have that Conquest-like experience, but in a shorter period of time, which is kind of what Slash gives you. So that's a potential for the future as well, but not something that we're 100% committed to yet.
Yeah, so we talked about this a little bit internally. So like Siege, Clash, Slash, the multiple versions of Clash, none of them ever really, other than the various adventures that were kind of in a similar space of essentially 5v5 non-conquest, non-arena modes, right? Domination, etc. None of those ever really met our goals as to what we really think they could be. So like, I don't think that means that there's nothing there. Like, I think there is still a lot of players that are excited about the idea of some sort of 5v5 non-arena, non-conquest mode. But I think it might be a better idea to start brainstorming like a completely new iteration of those things. I like the Turbo Conquest idea just like a lot.
Yeah.
I think that could be really, really fun. And could, like you said, hit a lot of the same player needs that those other game modes do. We like the idea of trying to brainstorm still completely new game modes. That'll probably be something that would be, something completely new like that would take a lot longer, but it's still something that would be exciting to do, something we'd be thinking about. But yeah, no immediate plans to port Slash or Clash or Siege or any of those other similar modes, Domination, etc.
The next mode that gets added better be Smite Cart 2 or else.
Oh my god.
Smite Cart 2. I think you
How
could
many
make
Smite Cart just can fit into a week,
I think you could make the point that making Smite Cart would be more effective than Slash or Clash or Siege.
Might be.
To be honest.
I am
even if people only play it once, but
I have played a lot of, like, I was a big Siege guy, and then I was a big Clash guy. Me and Josh Newberry used to play a lot of Clash. Yeah. And then I got a Slash when that came out. I played a lot of that, right? Like, I get it. It's a fun thing. I think that the benefits of it, though, as we've said, are just like, it's the Conquest-like experience, but faster, right? And I think that if we could do that in another way, it might be good.
Cool. All right. Well, we are at 2 p.m., so it's time for
one more question.
I always forget you guys are going to do that.
It's just like, what's going on? What did I sign up for?
Yep. I will answer a quick one first before I pick my real question. Could we enable aspects before the next patch like we did for CC buffering? No, this goes to what we said yesterday, where some things are just kind of like done in the update because we're working on them. Other things are more up to the last minute. So aspects, the tech for aspects is not fully in the live update, so we can't just turn that on. Yeah. So that'll be coming in January.
I saw someone ask the same question for Joust.
Yeah.
And it's like, these features are not in the live game yet at all. We would have to actually ship the whole update early. We're not done with it. We're still fixing bugs. We still have to go through certification. There are other things that we can't just ship that into the live game yet, unfortunately. But we're glad you're so excited about it.
Yeah, I know. I saw another one that we were talking about earlier. Any plans for PTS over the weekend? So the idea is we're going to run it overnight, but we will be closing PTS around 9 a.m. tomorrow.
Yes. But you will still be able to play Conquest in live with CC buffering, right, which we re-enabled today. And then when are we getting this update is, again, early January. It will be on live servers.
I'm trying to see if there's anything.
I still haven't really picked a question.
Like
answered a million things.
Well, I got mine out of the way.
Okay. Live client's boring now. Well, then we're doing our jobs.
Trying to see if there's any specifically designy ones that I can pick out here, but any Vulcan +1 hits. No, I don't want to spoil it, but I did like do some overtime on that one because I wanted it to be something really cool, and I don't want to overhype it, but I think it's pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
We'll be showing it soon, but it's not ready yet. Not ready yet. Just give us a few more weeks.
Let us cook.
Since we have the Tales of Arabia Pantheon, can we have Scheherazade as the new lore lady?
Blasphemy.
It's a little bit of blasphemy. I will say there's a lot of things that we like about characters in the 1001 Arabian Nights, right? I think that Scheherazade is a great character. I think that like Sinbad, Alibaba, there are other ones who are escaping me right now. But I think there's a lot of characters who could potentially find their homes in the Smite 2 roster one day, whether playable or as item references or, you know, lots of things that we could do there.
But no one can replace Lore Lady.
Yeah,
Lore Lady is Lore Lady.
Yeah, I do. Maybe this is a little bit of a spoiler, but it's like the smallest spoiler. We actually have new voiceover for the tutorial that the Lore Lady recorded.
Oh, nice.
So that'll be in the Obi-Wan update, the next update.
So if we ever need a new character that somehow serves the Lore Lady's function, we wouldn't call it the new Lore Lady. It would have to be a new character.
Yeah.
So Shahrazad could be Shahrazad, but she could not steal
Yes.
Lore Lady's title from her.
And we also, I don't know if this is going to get in or not, but while she was recording, we also had her record like some voice prompts for like picks and bans and also for like modes.
Oh, nice.
So like when Conquest started, when it says Conquest on the screen, she would say Conquest.
Nice.
You know?
That's awesome.
So I'm not sure if that's going to get in or not. That was kind of a stretch goal. But we do have that for one day in the future to get a little more Lore Lady in the game. So
Yeah, I mean, those things should be, now that we have the assets, we can definitely add them in the future. We're just like we're just working on so much important foundational gameplay stuff right now, like on the audio side as well. So it's like, we want to focus more on making sure abilities read clearly and firing in the combat space before we're adding more fun flavor lines to the front end. But those are still important too, and I'm glad you got them. We should do them in the future.
Last question. Will we be getting the January update release before Vegas? Yes. Generally speaking, just to kind of give you guys a quick overview of what we're thinking, early January, we'll probably release everything except for Aladdin and Joust, most likely. Then those will turn on a little bit later, but still before Vegas. And then we'll have more stuff coming out very soon after Vegas. So there's not a long wait before this gets on live. I think after we're done with the holidays and everybody's back in, you know, we should hopefully get it on live servers pretty quickly. But we have a few things we need to finish up internally before we can do that.
I saw a few questions for me around like plus ones or aspects that didn't make the cut that we like kind of worked on. We didn't really work on too many that didn't make the cut. We definitely brainstormed some that didn't make the cut. I'm thinking about a Medusa plus one. I had a pitch where when you lacerate an enemy god, it would actually detonate and leave a poison deployable in the area. So like in that way, Medusa, even if she dashes in aggressively, she gets some kind of damage like peeling for her that encourages her opponents to just not want to stand there and beat her up. It like gives you some interesting potential options. But everybody we talked to, the ambassadors and everyone, was so excited about the statues. Yeah. So we ended up going with that stuff instead. That was one I can think of. I probably could think of more. I'd be putting me on the spot. I'd have to go back and check some of my notes. But we certainly had a bunch of. I had another. We had a Hercules one. I was working on Hercules, so this one's easier to talk about. That we were talking about letting him like keep his boulder out longer, and instead of destroying it would like stay on the battlefield, and he could go like punch it again and like push it again and like bounce it off more walls and stuff. But it was just hard. Like it was a lot of technical. Yes. It was very technically challenged, but it was also like if this big ass damaging thing is just gonna be in your way for like all this time, and like a lot of times you throw it and it's just like way the hell across the map. Right, so like how are you gonna go back and interact with it again? You're just gonna hold on guys, just run right through the whole enemy team like just to like hit your boulder again. Like so like it sounded really fun, but then it just like didn't actually work. So
Pompon is calling us out for the longest last question of all time.
I know, right?
So that was the first one I answered. Okay. They were just giving me time to think. All right, thank you guys.
Well, let's go ahead and wrap up the show and get an update from the team on when the flash test is going to start later on this afternoon.
Yeah, I would guess about an hour or so from now. So stay tuned to Discord and to social media. We will have Joust and Duel available on the flash test. Good to call out that there will not be Conquest on today's flash test. Yes. Just Joust and Duel because we want to get as many people into those queues as possible.
Smite as Ajax intended.
The map. Yeah, getting us all your feedback and all the bug reports and all that stuff. But until then, chat, we will see you all on the battleground. Hope everyone has a great rest of the day and a great weekend. Until then, peace.
Thanks, everyone.